Hi, I'm Peter Montgomery, and this is my capstone. For my capstone, I have decided to write my very own children's story. The inspiration for me wanting to write my own children's story is for a lot of my life, I have loved drawing and coloring, and I've been a very creative person, so I like to make up stories and make up different characters. So this project will give me a chance to really challenge myself in a way I haven't before. When I was deciding what to do for my capstone, I came up with the essential question of how can I use my passion for drawing and creating to pursue a career in illustration? My inspiration for this project is comic books and graphic novels. I love reading these. I love the format and the art style and the different panels. I have experience with making comic books. I made one for an English project at the end of the first semester of this year. So it's something I'm very passionate about, and I'm very excited to begin this project. Some of my other inspirations are Creepy Carrots, written by Aaron Reynolds, Dogman, written by Dave Pilkey, and Calvin and Hobbes, written by Bill Watterson. My goal for this project is to come up with a lighthearted and exciting and colorful story that children would want to read and could get some meaning out of it. So I think back to when I would read books about forgiveness and fitting in when I was little, and how they mean a lot to me, and how when they're in the medium of a graphic novel or comic book, it's so much easier to understand it. For this project, I have decided to divide it into 5 parts. The first part being the brainstorming phase, where I decide what the story is going to vaguely be about and how it's going to be drawn and organized. The second part is going to be the planning phase, which is going to be deciding how I'm going to use my time to make sure I can get a good end result by the deadline. The third part is the drawing part, which is when I'm going to be deciding the design of the characters and drawing the world that they live in. The fourth part is going to be writing the story that I'm going to be illustrating. And the final part, 5, is going to be putting together the drawing and the writing and making a satisfying end result, which I can look back on and be proud of. This is part 1 of my process of writing my children's story. So this is the brainstorming part, where I'm going to be explaining the broad idea I have for my story and my character. So the story I'm going to be writing will be called The Blue Blaze, and it follows a man called Boro Pulsorion. He was born on the planet of Garandia, alien planet. I'm coming up with this all myself. And he was born with superpowers. So he was born with the power of flight. He's immortal. He can see extremely far in space, and he can shoot lasers out of his chest. So his motivation for being a superhero is, a while back, his home planet, Garantia, was struck by an asteroid that was very big, and it caused a complete technological reset for his people. So he doesn't want to let that happen to anyone else, so he flies from planet to planet, protecting them from incoming threats. This is the design I have settled on for my character. As you can see, he has a silver and gold suit with a purple cape and a purple logo and blue skin. The logo is a pulsar, which is a reference to his last name, which is Pulsarion, and he has blue skin and some pointy ears and big eyes to see far in space. Now, this is the design I have chosen for his home planet of Garandia. The design is 3 rings of land divided by 2 separate oceans. And I wanted to do this design because I wanted to demonstrate how, even though his people are divided by 2 oceans, they still work together as one civilization, and they all evolve the same. So this is part 2 now. This is the planning phase, and this is going to be how I'm going to organize my time well and begin planning how I'm going to write the story and draw the characters and the planet. For this story, I am choosing to do his origin story as a sort of flashback. And it is basically going to be the beginning of this character. So it'll be discussing his abilities and where he's from and what motivated him to become the superhero he is today. That's my plan for this one book. And who knows, maybe in the future I will make a second one. I really hope I do. The date today is April 17th. Yes, 17th. And my plan is to work over the next 2 weeks illustrating it and coloring it and working to get it done by hopefully the third week of May. That's not 2 weeks. I know, I just realized that math doesn't add up, but my goal is to have everything done by the third week of May so that I can spend the last week wrapping things up and just doing some reflection. I have written out the outline for my story, so I will share that now. So what it's going to look like is it's going to open with a once upon a time on a planet called Garandia, a boy was born. He was no ordinary boy, he was special. The boy was born with blue skin, and his name was Boro Pulsarion. The boy had trouble making friends. They would be scared of his blue skin, except for one girl. Her name was Gina Quasor. They grew up together and became best friends. When Boro turned 15 years old, he discovered he had special powers. He could fly as fast as a shooting star, shoot blue lasers out of his chest, and see very far away when he wants to. And one day, after an asteroid collided with his home planet of Garandia and caused a lot of destruction, he was too lazy to stop it that day. So since then, he vowed to protect his planet and other planets from the same fate. From then on, he was known as the Blue Blaze. So that's the kind of format I'm going to use for my story, where it's going to be a sort of origin story to this character. So as you can see, I have drawn out some scenes from the story. So first off, we have the collision of the asteroid with Garandia. That's the setting off point for his story and his motivation to become a hero. Then down here we have his friendship between him and Gina. So he's on the left in his costume, and there's Gina on the right, his best friend. And then up here we have a picture of him shooting a laser out of his chest at a incoming asteroid that is about to destroy a planet, so he's protecting the planet. Down here we have a drawing of him as a baby, so that'll be at the start of the book when he's born, and he will have blue skin. And then over here we have him as a hero. So these are just some light sketches that I have done for this, and I will definitely go into more detail later. So this is about the time where I have to start wrapping up my project and handing in my capstone. I will show the progress I have made on this endeavor so far. I'm using this book. This book I like to do sketches in here. It's very rough. I was planning on adding more to it, so I will definitely do that in the future. This is the start of my final copy. So this is the first page, and then this is the second page, and this is the third page, and that's the start of the fourth page. So this is definitely a work in progress, and I will keep at it, but this is just my progress so far. This is the reflection part of this project. So this is where I'll be talking about my successes and my failures and my mentor. So the mentor I have chosen was John Buscema, who is a famous Marvel comic artist. And I have a book here written by Stanley and illustrated by John Buscema. And this book, it pretty much goes over the fundamentals for drawing characters and step-by-steps, in-depth for drawing characters. So I found this book very useful for this project, and this book helped me out a lot using the different inspirations and all of the tips. It's so like this for movement. That was very helpful, very useful, and I'm definitely glad that I chose this mentor for this. I have not finished the project, but I will continue to work on it. And that is one thing I learned, is this project is a lot of work, and it is something that I will need to keep working at. Another challenge I found was I had trouble coming up with the names and what the story was going to be and different creative elements that are very important. So I found that to also be very challenging, and also finding the time. So of course, famous books take more than 6 months to write and fully illustrate, so I was definitely crunched for time. I should have scaled down, because I'm realizing now I can't write this whole book in this time frame, which is a little bit disappointing, but I can keep working at it and finish it when I finish it. So that is my plan. Some successes were, it was very rewarding to come up with this by myself. I had watched some YouTube videos on how to come up with good characters and how to write good story arcs, so that was some inspiration, but most of the things in the story is from me and just my imagination, so I'm quite proud of that. This project has been very satisfying, and I'm very glad that I chose to do this, because it is something I'm super passionate about. I love to read comics, I love to draw comics. In elementary school, I would make projects and put them in comic form. So some challenges for this project that I overcame was the challenge of starting it. I found it tricky to settle on an idea. I had a lot of ideas for this project, and one thing I thought was very difficult was to just focus on one. How I overcame that was just to decide it doesn't matter that much, right? I have all these ideas, and as long as I choose one, then it'll be good. I need to choose something. So that was my thought process of just land on one and go from there, and if it turns out bad, then I can change it. I don't have to stress about it before I've even chosen it, right? So I landed on this idea of a space character because I'm very interested in space, and I had brainstormed a few ideas, and I had just chosen, I hadn't really settled on anything, but then I just decided to just do this, just focus in on this and only this. So I'm definitely glad I did that. It's something I need to learn, and something that this project has definitely helped me with is just time management and realizing that you can't spend all your time making a decision. You have to make that decision right away and work with it. And if it doesn't work, then you change it. So that is something I learned. Compared to where I was when I started this project, I feel like I have definitely expanded my creative ability to come up with characters and stories. I had some help from my creative writing class that I took last semester. That helped me out a lot with developing characters and constructing good story arcs. That was definitely very helpful, and that is something I definitely feel I've learned, is the process of brainstorming. And if I have a vague idea, just go with it and see where that can take me, right? That's what I've learned, is that now I feel I am able to come up with more creative ideas because I spend less time deciding what to do. In conclusion, I am very satisfied with my progress on this project, and I found this to be very informative about myself and my ability to come up with creative ideas. In the future, if I plan to do something like this, I would definitely give myself more time to do it, as I didn't have enough time to finish the actual product that I wanted to finish. Now, that goal that I set for myself of writing this whole story, that definitely was far-fetched to do in this small time period. So that is something that I can work on, and my time management of realizing that some things take a lot of work. So that is something I definitely need to work on. I'm very satisfied. I'm glad I chose this topic, and I'm hoping that I can keep doing things like this in the future to expand my illustrative abilities.